Whether you know it or not, whether you invest in it or not, you already have an employer brand. That is, people already have a sense of what it's like to work for your company. That perception completely determines whether they feel like applying or not, whether they respond to a recruiter or not, whether they accept an offer or not. Yeah, it's that big a deal. Here's the issue. Your employer brand is up. You're attracting people you would never ever want to hire, and you're spending a lot of money to make it happen. If you want to attract the people actually worth hiring, here are 6 ways you are up your employer brand and a few ideas to help you unlock it. What's the biggest up? No clear differentiator. Not even a question. The one thing that makes your company you, well, that's the core of your employer brand. That's the thing. That's your DNA, right? But when you look and you sound and you act like everybody else, and by the way, for 90% of the people who are listening to this, yeah, I'm talking about you. You don't have an employer brand. You have, at best, an employer bland. So you need to find the one thing that you can talk about that shows how you're different. Next biggest up, being generically positive. Look, I know how bad you want to say we're a delightful place to work, and I know that you want to say we have a great culture. You know what? Everybody says that. If everyone says they have a great culture, everybody sounds the same. Everybody's offering the same thing, and how exactly is someone supposed to choose? It's kind of like having 10 restaurants that all say, we have great food. How do you choose? You don't. You walk away and you go home and you order a pizza. That's not going to help you create choice. So stop focusing on being blandly positive and focus more on being interesting and different. Next up, no focus. In the last year, I audited the recruiting social content of more than 200 different companies, and I'll tell you what, it looks like a lot of spaghetti thrown against a lot of walls. Recruiters and companies just post whatever seems to come to mind. It's not telling a story. It's not giving me a reason to remember. It's just a bunch of stuff. It's kind of like if Ford were to say, hey, here's an ad about our hubcaps, and here's an ad about our fuel efficiency, and here's an ad about our stock price. What is anyone going to take away from that? It's a dog's dinner of a messaging strategy. So get focused. Instead of saying 10,000 things, say one thing 10,000 different ways. Fourth up, not using your recruiters. What? Yeah, I know. It seems crazy, but there are a lot of companies that actively tell their recruiters, don't build a personal brand. As if recruiting is just some sort of way of spamming people's inbox. That's crazy. It's like telling a shopkeeper not to put their wares in the store window. So stop it. Do whatever it takes to make your recruiters your advocates, because they're the front line for talent. Fifth up, you're not using your hiring managers. Why do we build so many walls between the hiring manager and the recruiter? These are the people who add deep and meaningful credibility to your brand. They have networks that you're trying desperately to influence. So, I don't know, train them on what the brand is. Teach them how they can use it to help you attract better candidates. When you treat your hiring managers like advocates, when you actually develop them into advocates, you'll find that they're way more engaged with the hiring process. Finally, not knowing what you want your employer brand to accomplish. That's up. I know, it feels like there's so much literature out there saying all the various impacts an employer brand can have. And yeah, they're true. So your instinct, therefore, is to measure all of them, right? To show how incredibly powerful it is. That's a mistake. That's a recipe for staying. Great brands exist to solve one problem, and they measure that like crazy. The nice thing is, though, when you think of your employer brand as a thing that solves a specific problem, it has all these extra ancillary benefits. Your brand instantly becomes more useful, valuable, and way less stuff. Your employer brand is the oil in your recruiting engine. Yeah, you can make a car go without oil, but it's a lot easier when you have some in there, right? And it doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to be specific, attractive, different, and real. And when you make that happen, you will be stunned at how much better your hiring gets. So stop fucking up your employer brand and take it seriously. So if you've got a fucked up employer brand, and you do, get some help. Find someone who can find the core of what makes you different, who can spell it out and communicate it to lots of different audiences. Take it seriously, embed it in every single touch point, and you will find that your employer brand is actively driving value, not just to recruiting, but to the entire company.